specifically a design and development company. And Linkit is our core technology, and obviously one of our most important tasks is to keep Linkit ahead of where the opposition are.
Well, really, it's a very generic type technology. It has many applications, and that's one of the major aims of AIT. And why we have such a strong development department, research and development department, is because the core technology itself can be applied in so many various markets. We're going from monitoring vehicles all over Europe and recording the activities and what they do, and actually tracking them, as opposed to even tracking baggage for the actual airline. So as you have these different applications come up, which we're already on about 250 different applications, which each one is a separate industry in its own.
The product is effectively a system of tags, which are miniature radio transmitters, and readers, which read the output from the miniature radio transmitter. What you have is we're transmitting 45 bytes of information through air to a reader. The reader's then decrypting the information, putting it into a computer system, and then our customers are developing applications to do whatever they'd like to do.
Some of the ideas and concepts in the product are so unique that they're new to the industry, such as its aging process, and that means that you can have billions and billions of actual little identification units, and you could duplicate them every second.
Effectively, up until now, RFID has been restricted mainly to what's known as passive RFID. Passive RFID is where the tag does not have its own power source, and it relies on an external influence, which is effectively an electromagnetic field, to excite the tag, and as soon as it's excited, it will then transmit its data. What makes us fairly unique is the fact that we're able to transmit a large amount of data at a high repetition rate. So we're transmitting this data twice a second, effectively, and even at twice a second, we're able to achieve a battery life of in excess of 5 years. With our technology, effectively, is what the phrase we've coined is real-time resource control.
Well, the major challenge was that you need a device that would run at least 10 years, and you wanted it to be a beacon device which was sending out its actual signal all the time. So one was the power consumption facilitating enough power. And from its little 3-volt lithium battery, similar to your watch battery, we now can transmit 250 million times, which is about 10 years every second.
And that we have a lot of patents on the product. The first patent, which is the power consumption. The second patent is what we call a master-slave relationship between assets and individuals. You can actually slave the assets that are in an individual's possession, or that are given to him or given to her while working at a company. Those assets are then registered to the person's ID tag, and the two are recognized by the reader when leaving or entering a building.
The other challenge was that because you're sending out the information, you're exposing it because it's now in the air. And how would we make it unique? And that was another, the sort of concept which we also patented, came up with the whole concept of aging everything, because that way once it's manufactured, from the day it's made, it starts to grow, and it grows older and older, and with its code and its age you can always authenticate it, and you don't have to encrypt it to authenticate it and then have an unlock and a lock key. You can automatically make it visual, so it became like a fingerprint. And that would be unique. And then that gave us obviously the sort of unique markets, such as when we go into the markets on e-commerce. At the moment, if you start purchasing on e-commerce, you need to sort of identify yourself, but there's no electronic means of identifying yourself. So this has become an electronic identification means.
Using our core Linkit technology, we've developed a number of applications, including EVI, which is electronic vehicle identification, and the second, which is a very large market, is logical access, control for PCs, which we've called Link IT.
What we have in our Link IT kit is an active tag which transmits actively every second. This is pre-configured to transmit once a second. It can be configured to transmit more often in case you don't see your tag often enough. It's battery powered. It will last you approximately 5 years if it is transmitting it once a second. Then you have your reader to be able to pick up that signal. It's powered by a serial port.
This card is our Link IT active tag, can also be used as asset management. Even if you're looking at a laptop, this can be fitted on the laptop so you can see movable assets, as well as that this could be linked into as your access control, your personnel card, of where now the Link IT card is actually from when you're arriving at the office, it is opening up the turnstile, recognizing yes, this is Colleen Murphy. As soon as you would enter into your office, it would also be able to see once you've gone onto the computer, and as well as what are your assets.
That's the tag which is encrypted, and that is where your security lies.
This product is a standalone system, and primarily it could be for you, the user at home, where you've got confidential information on your computer and you're wanting to protect your data, as well as where we are looking at certain access to certain programs on your computer. If you are working on your computer, often what would happen is, say for instance, you need to go down to the first floor or you're going through to the printer. Often then is when somebody's going into your system, especially as a financial director or personnel manager, and they're accessing a lot of your confidential information. In having this system, as soon as you would walk away from your computer, your Link IT screensaver would come up and your computer would actually be inoperable until you return with your transmitter.
Passwords get forgotten. People get to know other people's passwords. This is a unique identifier, and it's more unique than just a password because it ages. It has a lifetime just like you and I. As soon as this is programmed in our factory, it starts aging. So for anyone else to duplicate it, it's a lot more difficult than to duplicate a password.
It makes life a lot easier where you don't need to log in and log off. Here, as soon as you walk away from your computer, automatically your screensaver would come up. Even if you take out your Link IT reader, at the back of the computer, say for instance I've been working on my computer now and I'm walking away, now somebody is trying to get into my system and tries to get hacking away at my system. They can't, because my Link IT screensaver is up, they can't get into my system.
Cost, size, the lifetime, the ease of use. It's a very, very simple product to use, not particularly complicated. You don't need to keep passwords and lists of other people's passwords as an administrator. Basically, you have your hardware, and that's what counts for you.
The software is intelligent, and what will happen as soon as a reader cannot see anything, it says, I can't see the assets that I'm supposed to be seeing, so therefore it assumes that they're missing. It'll bring up an alarm status immediately, and so you'd be able to figure out what was going on. People are starting to pay a lot more attention to asset tracking and asset management. And asset management has been around for a long time, but normally using things like barcode. I'd be able, as the IT manager, to walk into my office this morning at 9 o'clock and say, right, it's the 15th of February at 9 o'clock, give me my asset register, and it would give me my exact asset register by location at 0900 on the 15th of February 2000. I could then ask it to compare that to what the register was at 9 o'clock on the 14th. So having a real-time asset register allows you to know exactly where all your assets are all the time, and that really is very, very powerful stuff.
vehicle tracking systems have become very sophisticated. And we actually were looking at then a solution to look at identifying the vehicle all the way through the process. Instead of looking at just the vehicles and the vehicles that we build now new, because if we do it now new, we know that from parts marking studies, we will actually only see the benefits in 7 years' time. So we're actually looking at the whole vehicle car park, about what, 6.8 million.
Okay, we wanted to read vehicles' identification, and in particular their VIN number. We wanted to be able to read the VIN at speeds of at least 130 kilometers per hour. We wanted to be able to look up, while the vehicle was still at the reader, look up in a stolen list whether that vehicle was in fact stolen or not. And if it was stolen, to write back that status at that same speed.
That's the kind of use of technology that we have to use here. And that's the kind of technology that we as NAMSA are backing. And it's not just technology for South Africa, this is the technology that the Germans, the Europeans are looking at. And the beauty about this is that we actually found it here in South Africa.
What we're going to do now is our very first demo is a read and write to the vehicles as if they were in a traffic jam situation. Maureen, I wonder if you'd like to choose 1, 2, 3, or 4 cars there and tell us which numbers should be stolen.
I'd like to choose the little green car on the far side. I think that's number 3.
Number 3, the green Honda.
Yeah. And I'll choose number 2.
And number 2. Okay, when they come round again, we're going to clear the status back to normal. Now remember, number 7 is stolen at the moment, so in fact there will be 2 transactions. Number 7 will be made normal, and number 3 will become stolen. Okay, here we come. 7 status is changed and 3 is changed. Okay, here we come. Who's going off now? And the status has changed. By 229 kilometers an hour.
Well, I'll give you a quick recap. What we demonstrated was single vehicles and multiple vehicles traveling at anywhere from moderate to high rates of speed. We were able to individually identify the vehicles and, of course, pick the proper vehicle to activate a stolen notification, which you saw indicated as the flashing light. So we've been able to demonstrate significant wireless communication speed with this, and of course, in doing so, the ability to pick out specific vehicles, identify them, and then change their status electronically.
So insecurity of systems is a major issue, corruption is a major issue, and enforcement is a major issue. This particular system I am also very, very excited about. I have learnt, I also was privileged enough to see it in operation in Germany, and I think the most important thing for me was to see in the German VDA people, in the people who are technology experts from Mercedes, from BMW, with backgrounds who really understand this technology, to see the excitement of those people in this technology was a learning experience for me. And I think all I can say is to ART, fantastic congratulations on what they've shown today.
Well, our competitors do not have the capabilities that we have. We have better performance in terms of speed. We also have better performance in terms of price. What we have to keep developing, though, is the solutions, which is the software solutions and other aspects. We feel in very good shape to compete with our competitors. None of them can touch us right now. I want to make sure that lead only widens in the future.